Join the pack by clicking the link in the description down below and it'll take you to blackwolfnation.com. Use the discount code F1word at checkout to grab yourself 15% off. Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to my British Grand Prix preview. Following an action-packed and dramatic Austrian Grand Prix, all eyes turn to Silverstone this weekend, where I'm sure we will all be hoping for a great race. And to be fair to Silverstone, it doesn't often disappoint and usually throws up an okay race at its absolute worst. But then again, I said that about Canada earlier this year, so you never know. But before we look ahead to this weekend, let's start, as we always do, by having a look at last year's race. It was a Grand Prix probably best remembered for a little bit of ping pong between Vettel and Verstappen, Daniel Kvyat wiping out teammate Carlos Sainz, another belting comeback drive from Daniel Ricciardo, and of course, late punctures for both Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. But through all of that, Lewis Hamilton came out on top with victory, having taken pole position on Saturday. His pole time was a 1:26.600, and to be perfectly honest, as is often the case at Silverstone, he dominated the weekend. He also grabbed the fastest lap on Sunday with a 1:30.621. That was set on lap 48 and is also the current race lap record. Teammate Valtteri Bottas capped off a Mercedes 1-2, with Kimi Raikkonen taking that final podium spot for Ferrari. Of course, the Austrian Grand Prix weekend ended in misery for Mercedes after both their drivers retired with mechanical issues, and the team will obviously be hoping to turn things around at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton also lost the championship lead to Sebastian Vettel following his retirement, and again will undoubtedly be looking to see a swing back in his favour by the end of his home Grand Prix weekend. The Brit has called on Mercedes to find a solution to the strategy errors that have cost him several times this season. And following the Austrian Grand Prix, the world champion stated, "We've got to find a bulletproof method to move forward with our strategy, because if our car was still going, it was an easy win for us. We were comfortably ahead. But we'll work on it, we'll try to reevaluate, and try to win the next race." Everyone in the team is feeling the pain. We've had such great reliability for so many years. As painful as it is, and we are professionals, we really have to take the rough with the smooth. So all eyes will be on Hamilton and Mercedes this weekend, but as recent history has shown, Hamilton is a bit of a specialist around Silverstone, having won the last 4 British Grand Prix, taking his total to 5, which is the joint most, tied with Jim Clark and Alain Prost. As for the track itself, the circuit length is 5.891 kilometres. That translates to 3.660 miles. There will be 52 laps on Sunday, and the race length will be just short of 306.2 kilometres, or if you prefer, just over 190.2 miles. For me, the best section to watch these cars flow through is Maggots and Beckett's, that's 10 through 13, but I love watching them through Copse as well, particularly now with the downforce these cars have and the speed they can carry. The best section for overtaking is probably through Brooklands and Luffield, with moves also possible through 3 and 4, especially if drivers can nail Abbey and Farm. Other than that, the long hanger straight can set up some moves into Stowe, and that does allow for some side-by-side action or, as I've already said, a little bit of ping-pong on the exit of Stowe and down to Vale. But the opportunity for overtaking around Silverstone this year could well increase after a third DRS zone was added to the circuit. However, it is a zone like no other that will reward driver bravery. The new zone will run down the pit straight, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but there is a twist. Drivers will be allowed to keep using DRS through the high-speed turns of Abbey and Farm, of course the first 2 corners, as the system won't close until the drivers either brake or back off. Will the drivers be brave enough to fly through those corners with DRS wide open? Well, probably yeah, especially with potentially that little bit of extra time on the table. And of course, a few years back when DRS could be used freely through practice and quali, drivers have taken some flat-out corners with the DRS open. So it is very probable that with the increased downforce on this year's cars, we will see that again this weekend. The tyres available to the drivers for this weekend are the hard, the medium and the soft. It is the first time we'll see those blue marked hards this year. I'll be honest, I do get the feeling that Pirelli have maybe been a little bit too cautious given the problems that we've had at Silverstone over the years with the tyres. But I guess we will see over the course of the weekend. It will be a hot one in Silverstone this year, and as we saw in Austria, that can mix things up quite nicely. In terms of driver choices, 5 of the top 6 drivers have all taken 8 sets of soft tyres, but Max Verstappen is taking the least of anybody else on the grid with just 7 sets. In behind that, though, the majority of the rest of the field are going with 9 sets of the soft tyres, with Renault and Toro Rosso choosing 10. There are a couple of other stories, both involving Red Bull, that I want to cover before we get to my one to watch and my race predictions. First off, and Renault have urged Red Bull to clarify their situation regarding Carlos Sainz and have warned that they could look to consider a different driver lineup for 2019 if a decision isn't made quickly by Red Bull. As I'm sure you know, Carlos Sainz is still contracted to the Red Bull family and is spending this season on loan at the French manufacturer. But it is believed that Red Bull are holding off on a decision whilst talks with Daniel Ricciardo continue. Effectively, the team are looking to keep their options open. However, Renault boss Cyril Abiteboul has said that he and the team won't take any chances by waiting on a Red Bull decision. Abiteboul stated, "We are not going to wait forever for Ricciardo and Red Bull to decide. Either things can be put in place quickly with Carlos, and we will be an extremely serious option for next year, or we will consider alternative options." I think we all know it is very much Daniel Ricciardo holding the key to the driver market at the moment, Lewis Hamilton as well, of course. But it is certainly starting to hot up, and the rumour mill seems to be going crazy at the moment. Classic silly season. And you can catch my take on it all when my 2019 driver lineup predictions video goes up on the channel this Friday. And also very quickly, following his impressive victory in Austria, Max Verstappen believes that he can bring himself into the title fight this season. After a difficult start to 2018, the Dutchman has very much bounced back with a triple header of podiums, including that victory at the Red Bull Ring. He now sits just 3 points behind teammate Daniel Ricciardo and 53 points off championship leader Sebastian Vettel. And when asked after the race on Sunday about his victory and if he can take the fight to Mercedes and Ferrari in the championship, Max said, "I couldn't have chosen a better race to do it, so very happy. We never give up. We need a bit more engine power, and then we can definitely be in the mix." There is a reason I wanted to cover that little bit of a story there, because I wanted to get your guys' views on this. Do you think that Max Verstappen, or Daniel Ricciardo for that matter, is realistically a title contender this season, or is that deficit in power going to be too much for he and his teammate to overcome? And of course, as well, going back to that first story, what are you expecting to happen with Carlos Sainz next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's have a look then at my one to watch this weekend, and to be perfectly honest, I've struggled a tad with this one. There were so many standout performances in Austria, and it should be so close again, especially in that midfield this weekend. But I am going to pick one, and I'm going to go with Romain Grosjean. There is no denying he had a fantastic weekend last time out, and had the measure of his teammate from FP1 right through to the checkered flag on Sunday. And of course, with that Ferrari power unit, Haas should be strong again this weekend. Historically, Grosjean has had mixed fortunes at Silverstone in the past, with his best finish being 6th place for Lotus in 2012. But after his performance in Austria, he will undoubtedly be on a high, and his confidence almost certainly will be up as well. So if he can deliver again this weekend, his season will surely have started to turn a corner. My predictions for this weekend then, yes, I know they are usually terrible, and yes, it is early in the week, but it is all just a bit of fun. Looking back over the last few seasons and how things have gone this year so far, I can't look beyond Lewis Hamilton for pole position on Saturday and probably for the win on Sunday as well. I think Sebastian Vettel will just pip Valtteri Bottas to 2nd place on the podium, but the Finn will get his podium this weekend. And I don't usually do this in these videos, but I have to say, if I could pick one man to win the race this weekend out of the top 3 teams, with no disrespect to anybody else, I would pick Valtteri Bottas, because that guy just needs the luck to go his way. I'm also going to go for 1 safety car, 4 retirements, and I think Lewis Hamilton will also take the fastest lap on Sunday. That is it then for the British Grand Prix preview, and as ever, they are just my thoughts and my predictions, but what are yours? Who do you think will come out on top this weekend, and who is your one to watch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, when you see this, I will be at Silverstone, so any content that you see on the channel from now on is all pre-recorded. Therefore, as obvious as it sounds, and I guess as a bit of a disclaimer, if news breaks, it won't be covered in any of the uploaded content coming up. However, if we do get a proper big breaking news story, I will try and do something whilst I'm away. The next video will be up on the channel on Friday, but in the meantime, don't forget to follow me on social media for updates on my Silverstone weekend. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.